Hello, my name is Patrick Forbes, and I would like to present a persuasive speech on the subject of sex education. Now, according to the Centre for Disease Control, last year in the United States alone, there were almost 700,000 babies delivered to teen mothers. Of that figure, 8 out of 10 were unplanned pregnancies, and 82% involved either a single mother or an unmarried couple. Now, the CDC informs us that that figure is actually a drop from previous years. However, clearly that number is still far too high. Add to that the findings of a separate CDC study carried out in 2009, which told us that only 50% of teen mothers will achieve a high school diploma by the age of 22, and clearly this is a problem that needs addressed. It's my belief that the best way to address the problem is to educate our children and our teenagers about the problem. According to the Association of Family Planning, between the years of 2004 and 2008, 22% of American women reported having a baby before the age of 20, while in countries such as France, Switzerland and Sweden, who begin sex education in classrooms with pupils as young as 10 years of age, the numbers are reported as 6%, 5% and 4% respectively. Now, some of you might say that sex education is important, however, it's not a job for the teachers, it's a job for the parents. And I believe that's a valid argument. However, a study in 2010 by the University of California, Los Angeles told us that 45% of adolescents between the ages of 13 and 18 will already have engaged in sexual activity before ever having been spoken to by the parents. I believe that sex education in America has been ignored for far too long. Being the husband of a public school teacher, I've heard a lot over the years about what goes on in our classrooms, what is allowed and what isn't allowed. But nothing surprised me more than what I was told just 2 years ago when my wife was charged with the responsibility of providing a sex education lesson for a classroom of 6th graders. Shortly before the lesson began, she was approached by a member of her administration and informed that under no circumstances should she use the I word. Now, some of you might be wondering what exactly is the I word. That's the same question my wife needed to ask the administrator. Turns out the I word is intercourse. She was also handed a list of subjects that she should avoid in this lesson. Those subjects included sexually transmitted diseases, contraception, and pregnancy. Let me reiterate this because this is what passes as sex education in our classrooms today. Don't talk about sexual intercourse. Don't mention STDs. Don't talk about contraception, and avoid all mention of pregnancy. Looking at these stats, I believe that as a society we are failing this generation. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that all children are different. I know that some 13-year-olds will be ready for a more in-depth discussion about sexual education. I also understand that some 13-year-olds will simply want to know more about the changes they're experiencing in their own body and don't really care about something to do with someone else's body at this point. That's why I believe sex education needs to be a collaborative effort between teacher and parent. The more detailed information can be left at home between the parent and the child, while the teacher can cover the basics in the classroom. But no matter how we approach the subject, we must begin the dialogue. We need to stop thinking of sex as a taboo subject. We need to stop worrying that talking about sexual intercourse or STDs or pregnancy is somehow going to destroy the childhood of our children, because it won't. Having a child at the age of 15, that will probably destroy your childhood. Now, as the father of a 5-year-old girl, I would love to stand here in front of you today and say that my little girl is going to grow up in a generation that will not need to face this problem. That they will grow up in a generation where teen pregnancies don't exist any longer, where everyone waits until they're married. However, I live in the real world. I believe Winston Churchill once said, "Those who fail to learn from the mistakes of the past are doomed to repeat them in the future." I believe as a society we need to learn from our mistakes, not only that we made in the past, but that we are still making today. Because if we don't, it will be our children that suffer the consequences tomorrow. That's all the time I have for you today. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.